Iran and Israel are not just countries in conflict. They represent two powerful forces with decades of tension, strategy, and military strength.
Both sides possess advanced military systems, including long-range missiles, air defense network.
If a single strike is launched, there is no time to wait. Every second matters, and decisions must be made instantly.
It begins with a single launch. In just seconds, a missile travels across the sky, setting off a chain reaction that cannot be easily stopped.
Within seconds, early warning systems detect the incoming missile. Advanced radar begins tracking its speed.
Immediately, defense systems respond. Interceptor missiles are launched with one goal: to stop the threat before it reaches its target. As the situation escalates, both sides begin launching multiple missiles. What started as a single strike quickly.
In just minutes, the conflict expands beyond a single location. Multiple regions become involved.
Now, multiple missiles fill the sky, overwhelming defenses and increasing the risk of impact.
Defense systems struggle to track every threat, pushing technology to its absolute limits.
Interceptors launch in rapid succession, attempting to neutralize as many threats as possible. Even one missed interception can change everything, triggering further escalation within seconds. Neighboring countries now prepare, raising alert levels and mobilizing their own forces. Air forces respond quickly, launching jets to secure airspace and prepare for potential strikes. Naval fleets reposition, securing key routes and preparing for possible regional expansion.
Within minutes, global media spreads the news, and the world begins watching closely.
Critical resources like oil routes are now at risk, impacting supply chains worldwide.
Markets react instantly, with uncertainty spreading across economies and increasing global pressure.
The United States begins monitoring closely, preparing for possible involvement if the situation worsens.
Military forces are placed on standby, ready to respond within minutes if required.
Allies in the region begin mobilizing, increasing the scale and complexity of the conflict. At the same time, cyber operations begin, targeting communication and defense networks. Allies in the region begin mobilizing, increasing the scale and complexity of the conflict.
At the same time, cyber operations begin, targeting communication and defense networks.
Satellites play a crucial role, tracking movements and relaying critical information globally.
Civilians begin evacuating as authorities attempt to maintain order and ensure safety.
World leaders hold emergency meetings, attempting to control escalation before it spreads further.
Global trade routes face disruption, especially oil supply lines critical to many economies. The world watches in real time as the situation continues to unfold rapidly.
At this point, the conflict reaches a critical stage, with the risk of a wider war increasing. Long-range systems are now deployed, increasing the potential reach of the conflict beyond the region. Defense networks remain active, scanning continuously for any new incoming threats.
Airspace becomes highly contested, with aircraft operating under extreme pressure and precision. Supply lines are activated to support operations, ensuring resources continue to reach critical locations. Communication networks begin to experience disruption as cyber operations intensify across both sides. Satellite systems provide real-time tracking, becoming essential for both monitoring and coordination.
Alliances begin to take shape, turning a regional conflict into a global concern.
Multiple nations increase readiness, preparing for potential involvement if escalation continues. Economic pressure continues to rise as uncertainty spreads across global financial systems. At this stage, the conflict reaches a global tipping point where any move could change everything.
World leaders rush to communicate, trying to prevent the situation from escalating beyond control.
We need immediate de-escalation.
Military alert levels rise globally as forces prepare for worst-case scenarios.
Advanced systems are now armed, increasing the stakes of every decision made. Multiple strategic locations are now at risk, expanding the scale of the conflict.
Air operations intensify, with aircraft deployed to maintain control of critical airspace.
Naval forces reposition quickly, securing vital routes and preparing for further escalation.
Cyber warfare spreads rapidly, disrupting communication and increasing confusion worldwide. Satellites continue tracking every movement, providing critical, real-time intelligence.
Ground forces begin moving strategically, positioning themselves for potential engagement.
Across the world, people watch closely, aware that the situation could change at any moment.
Systems indicate rising pressure, with every second becoming increasingly critical.
Critical decisions are being made, with consequences that could impact the entire world.
At this moment, forces remain ready, waiting for what happens next.
At this moment, forces remain ready, waiting for what happens next.
There are signs of control as communication begins to stabilize across key systems. Some regions show reduced activity, offering a small window for de-escalation.
Leaders attempt to negotiate, seeking ways to prevent further escalation.
Military activity begins to slow, though tension remains extremely high.
The situation begins to stabilize, but the risk has not fully disappeared. The world pauses, realizing how close it came to something far more serious. As immediate threats begin to decrease, systems slowly return to a more stable state.
Forces begin to stand down, though readiness remains high in case conditions change again. Aircraft return to base, marking a temporary pause in active operations. Naval forces reduce movement, maintaining position while monitoring the situation.
Conflict intensity decreases, but the region remains under close observation.
Leaders emphasize stability, aiming to prevent further escalation through continued dialogue.
Daily life begins to resume, though the impact of recent events is still fresh.
Media continues to report, analyzing how close the situation came to a larger conflict.
Markets gradually stabilize, though uncertainty remains a lasting factor.
Global systems continue to stabilize, but vigilance remains essential moving forward.
The world returns to calm, but the memory of how close it came remains.
Even in silence, systems remain active, ready to respond at any moment.
A new day begins, offering a chance to learn from what nearly happened.
Global cooperation remains the key to preventing future conflicts of this scale.
The future depends not on conflict, but on the decisions made to avoid it.